Okay, I'm going to show you one way you can make a landscape inspired by Thiebaud. This one's sort of an aerial view, so I'm going to use that as inspiration. You could definitely use Google Earth or something like that to look up, an aerial view of a certain area or just get some ideas. I'm going to start off by using my curve line, and I'm going to make like somewhat of a road or like a path that we'll go through that I can kind of use to organize things. I'm going to just click on my arrow to make that finalize, and I'm going to make it really thick, but I'm going to pick a different color because I don't like that black. I'll just do it like a light gray for now, and then I think I'm going to come back with that same tool, and maybe I'll add some other lines. We'll go off of it. I'm going to do the same thing, 24, and the same color. Whoops, it was off one. Okay, and then I think I'm going to start making some shapes, probably using the Polyline tool as soon as I get this last one adjusted. And I'm going to kind of just build it up that way, working in layers. All right, so here we go. Polyline. Then I can start doing it. If you've ever been on an airplane, you'll know when you fly over areas with agriculture, it kind of ends up looking like a patchwork quilt, which is pretty cool. You can see, where there's the borders between the fields, and you'll see different colors and textures and things. So that's kind of a fun way to think about this. And you can just begin to build, thinking about how to break it up. Maybe eventually going back and adding some more little details. Like if I wanted to put in, a hint of trees, I could probably find a shape that would work, or I could use the, I just lost the word for what I was looking for. The curve tool. There we go. That's what I wanted. You could use the curve tool to build from there. Remember, you can always get custom shapes, but this is one easy way you can start to build a landscape. You can go back and layer with more lines on top to break it up more. But I think this is the basic parts, and I'll be back with another section of this video in just a minute to show you more. So I wanted to show you this. Sometimes it's faster to draw your shapes first and then go back and change the color. So I broke this up into sections using my Polyline tool. Now I can quickly click on it and then select the color and the border color that I want. And it was way faster than trying to think about every color choice in between. I was able to just get the big shapes and now go back and tweak it and make it exactly how I want it. I also added some lines in my background to make the horizon line, meaning where the sky meets the ground, and I added some lines that would just follow the curves. Now I could go back with my scribble maybe, and I could add some other lines in between, just thinking about what colors I would like. You could just do, whoops, that color is the same, so it's not showing up. You could just kind of add patterns or textures to this as well. If I want to try to make some little trees, let's look at the shapes that are available. There's this one that's a cloud. It looks a little bit funky on its own, but I bet if I get the colors right, it could look like trees. So you can kind of experiment with making your own shapes, or using ones that even are meant for something else, using it in an unpredictable way. That could be a good tool in your landscape arsenal. Remember that things that are further away are going to be smaller and higher up in the picture. So if I have more clusters of trees further up, they need to be smaller. You can select multiples at the same time and do Control C and Control V to paste those and keep shrinking them. Now that I have a lot, I can quickly click on them and then go back and change colors, make some of them lighter or darker. As they get further away, they might be lighter. You know, I can change my border color as well. So it's good to have some variety in there. And then next, I'm going to add some shadow. So I've selected all of the shadows that I created by holding Shift and clicking on them. Now I'm right clicking and I'm going to create a group. This should make it easier to move them all together. I should have done the same thing with my trees if I had thought about that. So I'm doing Control and the down arrow until they're all behind their respective trees. There we go. So I'm feeling pretty happy with this. I'm going to add just a few more sections of lines and patterns and I'll be good to go. For the next example, I want to show you a cityscape, and I decided to change the size of the canvas by dragging the lines in on the corner just to make it taller. I'm going to throw in a background real quick and then we'll get started. So this is going to be easiest if we work from back to front. It just works better that way. I'm going to turn the border off. You pick any color you want to. And now we're going to look at some shapes. So I think I probably want to find like somewhat of a curve to start with. Thiebaud talked about in his landscapes wanting to try to show like multiple layers at once. So the perspective doesn't necessarily have to make sense. I want to rotate that and maybe I'll add something else later. Let's find another shape. Maybe I'll switch to my curve tool. Give myself like a nice big hill here. It's going off my edge a little bit, but I think that's going to be okay. And then I'll pick a color for that. I think I'll give it a lighter border. Okay, and then I want to add, maybe I'll switch and do a polyline here in front to make another layer. All right, so after I kind of get like some hills, this painting, by the way, is called Apartment Hill. It's at the Nelson Atkins Museum in Kansas City. Now I can start to build some buildings. So the easiest is to start with some rectangles. Maybe I'll make one here. I'm gonna move behind that little purple hill in just a minute. Pick a color. I want to make that border a little thicker. Okay, and remember I can do Control minus. Now it's behind. I can come back and add some lines there later on, but I want to go on and add another building here. And I'm also going to put that behind so it looks like, you know, you're just seeing like further into the distance. Okay. And then this would be a good time to get my Poly Shape tool and just make some straight line buildings. I could come back and do some teeny tiny little windows if I wanted to. Copy and paste that. And add some lines would be good. So just keep building up cool details. Make sure to download it as a JPEG and turn it into Classroom when you are finished.